4 mistakes are quietly destroying zucchini plants in gardens everywhere, including probably yours. If your zucchini plants are just sitting there looking stunted, barely growing or producing almost nothing, yeah, this is the video that explains why. Every single one is completely avoidable once you see what is actually going on. None of this needs expensive products or complicated techniques. Each one has a clear, practical fix that can change how the garden performs starting right now. The first mistake happens before the zucchini even goes in the ground, and it is the one thing that can doom a plant weeks before any problem ever shows up. So here's the thing. The most common planting mistake is putting every plant in the ground at once, right at the start of the season, and just assuming the job is done. I mean, it feels logical. The seedlings are ready, the bed is prepared. Why not get everything in together, right? But zucchini plants are actually really sensitive to temperature. And if a cold spell arrives after transplanting, even briefly, even just a few nights dropping below 15 degrees Celsius, the plant shuts down. Not dramatically, it does not keel over and die on the spot. It just stops. Stops growing, stops pushing out new leaves, and it sits there stalling for weeks while better conditions eventually come around. This is not some rare scenario, cold late springs happen all the time. A plant that goes through that kind of early stress never fully recovers its momentum. It spends the whole peak growing window playing catch-up instead of producing, and that time is just gone. The fix is staggered planting, spreading transplants out across the season rather than doing it all in one round. In cooler northern climates, the first transplants go in from late April through early May, once temperatures are consistently staying above 15 degrees. In warmer southern regions, that window opens earlier, sometimes late March or early April. But here is the part that actually surprises most people. The planting window stays open all the way to early August. That changes the whole rhythm of the garden. Summer heat and drought wear down the plants that went in during spring. An older plant that has been fighting heat since May gets worn out over summer and produces less and less as autumn rolls around. A young plant transplanted in July, on the other hand, has none of that baggage. Give it some shade during the hottest weeks and consistent watering, and it quietly builds strength in the background. Then September arrives, temperatures ease, rain comes back, and that late transplanted plant hits its productive peak right on schedule. Often running through October and into November when the autumn stays mild. So if it feels too late to plant zucchini this season, trust me, it almost certainly is not. Even perfectly timed plants are vulnerable, because the second mistake can take down a healthy zucchini in a matter of days, and most people only react once the damage is already obvious. Powdery mildew, oidio in Italian, is, the most dangerous enemy a zucchini plant has, full stop. It is a fungal disease that shows up as a white, powdery coating spreading across the leaves. And here's the thing, by the time that coating is clearly visible, the infection is already well established. Treating it at that point is not useless, but it is a real uphill battle. The window for actually effective protection is before the disease ever appears at all. Preventive treatment needs to start the moment the plants go into the ground. The routine is simple. Apply a protective product once every 10 to 15 days in dry weather. If rain washes it off, apply again. The products are completely natural. Sulfur in powder or wettable form, sodium or potassium bicarbonate, propolis, and none of them leave harmful residue on the fruit or in the soil. Sulfur, is just a mineral, not a heavy metal like copper, and it breaks down completely in the soil at the small amounts used here. Powdered sulfur gets applied dry with a small duster and gives quick, aggressive initial coverage. Wettable sulfur dissolves in water, around 5 to 8 grams per litre, basically 1 kitchen spoon, and gets applied by sprayer for more consistent, lasting coverage between rounds. A solid approach is to alternate the two throughout the season. Baking soda works on the same schedule at the same concentration, 1 generous kitchen spoon per litre, sprayed straight onto the foliage. There is one rule that absolutely cannot be ignored. Never apply sulfur in the heat of the day. When sulfur meets intense direct sunlight on a leaf, it undergoes something called sublimation. It passes directly from solid to gas, and that reaction burns the foliage, plain and simple. The right windows are early morning, ideally while dew is still on the leaves, or in the evening once the sun is dropping. Get the timing right. And these products work really well. Now here is the mistake that almost seems too obvious to make, and yet it stops an otherwise healthy, well-tended zucchini plant from producing a single fruit. Zucchini flowers come in 2 distinct types. The female flower grows at the tip of a small developing fruit. Look closely and there is a tiny miniature zucchini sitting right behind the petals. That is the one that becomes the actual fruit. The male flower, on the other hand, grows on a plain, thin stem with nothing behind it. Its only job is to carry pollen to the female flower. And without it, the female flower cannot be fertilized. No fertilization, no zucchini. It really is that simple. The male flower carries pollen on its stamen. For a zucchini to develop, that pollen needs to reach the pistil of the female flower, either carried there by bees and other insects or transferred by hand. In gardens with low insect activity, hand pollination is actually a really useful skill to know. Just take a freshly opened male flower in the morning, peel back the petals and dab the pollen-covered stamen against the pistil of a female flower that opened the same morning. It takes about 30 seconds and it reliably sets fruit when pollinators are not showing up. But none of that works if the male flowers have already been removed. Pollination just cannot happen at all. The thing is, male flowers look delicious. Stuffed and fried zucchini flowers are a classic dish, and it makes complete sense to want to harvest them. The key is proportion. Always leave at least 2 or 3 male flowers open per plant at any given time. A healthy plant produces way more than that, and the extras can absolutely be harvested. Female flowers should not be picked unless the plan is to harvest a young zucchini at around 10 centimetres. With the flower still fresh and attached, that is actually a real delicacy. That is the right moment for it. But randomly pulling male flowers, just quietly shuts down production with no obvious warning at all. The 4th and final mistake feels almost harmless, but it is quietly draining the productive energy out of an otherwise healthy plant every single day. Leaving zucchini to grow huge before harvesting is one of the most effective ways to quietly tank your own production without realizing it. When a zucchini gets very large, the plant reads that as a cue to redirect everything it has into bringing that single fruit to full maturity and seed development. Everything else slows down. Younger zucchini on other branches stall out. New flowers lose momentum. The plant shifts from continuous production mode into finish this one fruit mode, and the whole garden pays for it. The ideal harvest size is around 20 centimetres. At that point, the flesh is tender, the skin is thin enough to eat without peeling, the seeds are barely formed, and the taste is, at its absolute best. Beyond 20 centimetres, the texture toughens up, the skin thickens and hardens, the seeds grow bigger, and the flavour drops off noticeably. What started as a zucchini has basically become a marrow, still edible, sure, but far less interesting to cook with, and it was produced at the direct cost of everything else the plant could have been making. Harvest often and harvest young, checking the plants every day or two, and pulling off everything that has hit 20 centimetres keeps the plant in continuous production mode. The more fruit comes off at the right size, the more new fruit the plant generates. It is a feedback loop, and it runs just as fast in the other direction. Leave an oversized fruit sitting on there and production visibly stalls within just a few days. The only real exception is seed saving. If the goal is to collect seeds for next season, pick the strongest fruit on the best plant, let it reach full maturity, then harvest it, split it open, rinse the seeds thoroughly, dry them completely, and store them somewhere cool and dry. Everything else off the plant at 20 centimetres, no exceptions.